Hi, it's me again, Larry Keigwin, and welcome back to the fourth episode of Happy Hour with Chris and Larry.
Yes, welcome back. I'm Chris Keesee, and Happy Hour with Chris and Larry is sponsored by ArtDesk magazine in support of the Green Box Arts Festival. We have a super fun interview today with one of our festival favorites.
Now, I know in our past episodes we've been highlighting the visual arts, but also we've been including music since the very beginning at the Green Box Arts Festival.
Yes, music has been a part of Green Box since the very beginning, and a big thank you to Colorado Springs philanthropist David Siegel for his curatorial input for the festival. We appreciate so much David's efforts. He's been terrific to work with. Thank you, David.
So today, we thought it would be really special to introduce you to the one and only Kyle Dillingham.
Oh my gosh, Kyle is a fiddler extraordinaire. In fact, his high-energy, uplifting music ranges from blues to bluegrass, gypsy jazz to western swing.
Country rock and gospel too.
Kyle Dillingham first picked up the violin when he was 9 years old, and 8 years later he gave 2 featured performances at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey Chris, did you know that Kyle has brought his music to over 37 countries, earning him the title of Oklahoma's musical ambassador?
It's pretty impressive. We've been so fortunate to have Kyle with us at the Green Box Arts Festival for 2 different years, in 2013 and 2015. And today, we have him live in our Oklahoma City studio.
Great. I can't wait. Let's go get a drink and see if we might get Kyle to play his fiddle.
I think that's a great idea. I think he's warming up now. Shall we?
Cool.
This evening, Larry and I wanted to share with you some of the wines that we drink most often. Personally, I prefer white wines and tend towards Sauvignon Blancs rather than the Chardonnays and Pinot Grigios.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I find the Chardonnays to be very buttery. Now, on the other hand, I prefer reds, especially if it's cold outside. Nothing beats a red next to the fire, right?
Over the last year or so, Larry and I have actually been making a study of it, and we found that our glass wines, which is a very nice Sauvignon Blanc, really fits any occasion, day or night, and also for any kind of dinner party. Here's a close-up of the bottle, and you can see that it's from Napa Valley. Blended from 5 renowned vineyards, the Sauvignon Blanc offers perfumed aromas and is clean and crisp, just the way I like it. We use it for drinks hour and find that it's also the perfect wine to accompany the table for fish, fruits, poultry, vegetables, and chicken.
Now, if you're thinking of a red meat, maybe you'll lean towards the red again. So we discovered the Chateau Neuf de Pape. How was that pronunciation?
Very well.
Oh, good. So here's the bottle, yeah. I'm so pleased with this. It comes from an historic village in France's southern Rhone Valley that is famous for its powerful, full-bodied red wines. But the only thing is it's a little expensive, so maybe save it for special occasions, right?
Well, Larry, we have a lot to discuss this evening. So why don't we have a quick taste of wine and get on with our discussions, shall we?
Sounds good. I'll take the bottle. Here we go.
Okay. Kyle Dillingham is an American musician born in 1978. He started playing the violin when he was 9 years old. 8 years later, he gave 2 featured performances at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, Tennessee. He received a bachelor's degree in instrumental music performance from Oklahoma City University. He's an Oklahoma Creative Ambassador and was a 2009 recipient of the prestigious Oklahoma Governor's Arts Award. Kyle's first performance at the Green Box Arts Festival was in 2013 alongside the Colorado Youth Symphony. Kyle is managed by a legendary music impresario, Jim Halsey, who also has guided the careers of many great performers, including Roy Clark, the Oak Ridge Boys, and James Brown. Kyle has taken his music to 37 countries, earning him the title of Oklahoma's musical ambassador. Kyle also performed at the 2015 Green Box Arts Festival with the Horseshoe Road Band. Here he is in front of the Spencer Finch billboard entitled Back to Kansas. Kyle always delivers a high-energy, uplifting musical experience that blends captivating virtuosity and heartfelt sincerity. The eclectic musical style of this beloved band ranges from blues to bluegrass, gypsy jazz to western swing, country, rock, and gospel, and is blended into an earthy genre of music the band fondly calls Heartland Acoustic. Together, they have represented America internationally in 37 countries, energizing audiences everywhere they go. Last year, in 2019, Horseshoe Road completed a 2-week American Music Abroad tour through Kuwait and Kosovo, sponsored by the United States State Department. Kyle produced a show in Thailand where he and the performers play their instruments while skateboarding. It's part of the broken violin performance. His song, Jealous Wind, recently took first place in the 2020 International Acoustic Music Awards. Once again this year, Kyle wowed the Green Box Arts Festival crowd. We were so happy to see him return. He always brings down the house. Thank you, Kyle. We all love you and can't wait to see you on the mountain again.
Hi, Kyle. We miss you here in Green Mountain Falls, but we're delighted you can join us from the studio in Oklahoma City.
Speaking of Green Mountain Falls, weren't you here in 2013 and 2015? Tell us a little bit about your experience here in Colorado. Did you enjoy being in this environment?
Oh my goodness. Chris, Larry, I thank you, first of all, for having me with you today. But let me tell you, Green Mountain Falls just literally changed my life. 2013, the first time up, I didn't quite know what to expect, but it was actually delayed a year because we had tried, I think it was the year before, but there were fires, something like that. So there was a lot of drama and anticipation and leading up to it. And you know, sometimes you might think that the expectations would be greater than the actual experience, but what an incredible thing. And I always tell people, you really have to go to really understand what Green Mountain Falls is and what Green Box Arts Festival is. The mayor gave me a key to the city. So, I mean, tell me, could you imagine a more exciting and life-defining moment than getting a key to a city from a mayor? It's really been an incredible experience for me, and I really can't thank you enough.
Can you give us just a brief history of bluegrass music? Our listeners would be interested in knowing a little more.
The origins of bluegrass come from the fiddle traditions of Ireland, mixed with some traditions that came from Africa with the banjo. All of that kind of mixing in the mountains of Kentucky and Tennessee and Virginia. You sort of have this folk tradition that was emerging, blending the rhythms of the guitar. The mandolin became a very, very important element. Bill Monroe played mandolin, and there was a chop you could get, and it would sort of emulate like the snare hits on a drum. And then you got the banjo that just rolls and rolls and adds so much, another rhythmic dimension to this music. And then you have the fiddle, very important to have the fiddle there. Adding that sweet, lonesome, sound, but also the high energy that it can bring. It's a kind of music that was birthed on the back porches in the mountains of Kentucky. So you imagine everybody getting together, the family, the neighbors getting together and just grabbing their instruments and playing, making music and clogging and whatever it might be, and singing, and everybody joining in on the harmonies and the choruses. And so the music also very naturally brings people together, a sense of community, and something that everybody feels like they're a part of. That's what I've always loved about bluegrass music.
Kyle, thanks for sharing. That was so interesting. So I've read that you've performed all over the world. For a king in Malaysia, a princess in Thailand. You've been to Beijing and Saudi Arabia. Do you have a favorite place and why?
Oh, Larry, so many places, so little time. I've now had a chance as Oklahoma's musical ambassador to represent not only the great state of Oklahoma, but also the United States in over 40 countries with my music. So trying to pinpoint just one country that's a favorite is very hard for me. French is my second language, so I always love going back to what seems like a second home to me in France. But more recently, I've spent a lot of time in Thailand and China. And both of these places are a little more distant from what we think of as the norm here in the United States. And so I love being in a place where I feel like I truly am in another culture, in another time and space even.
We love hearing about the big moments, But is there a place you've performed that you just as soon not return to?
We had an experience that was very challenging in Liberia. We were taken way out in remote parts of the jungle in Liberia, and in fact, we would tell locals that we were going to Zwedru, and they said, "Oh," their eyes would get big, and they would say, "Oh, the road to Zwedru," and we kept thinking, "Oh my gosh, what is this that we're getting ready to do?" And it turned out this was hardly a road; it was like a dirt trail carved through the jungle. We were driving in, we had to exchange the usual vehicles for four-wheel drive, all-terrain vehicles, so that it was the only way to make it to Zwedru. You were not dodging the potholes, you were dodging the bigger of the potholes, but you were still hitting potholes every little step of the way. Because by the time we arrived, we were just almost bruised and worn out. They were so overwhelmed that we had made it there to visit them and to share American music with them. In fact, we didn't find a single person that had ever even heard of a violin. They didn't know what it was. They had never seen a picture or a video or even heard the sound or even knew a word to call it. And we got to perform the violin for them and let them hear it for their very first time. It was an incredible opportunity to share goodwill from America to Liberia.
Kyle, do I remember correctly that you once composed an opera? Can you share a little bit about that process?
Maybe one of these days it'll be on my bucket list to make an opera, but I have dabbled with lots of writing, and in fact, songwriting is one of the important parts of my career. And the last year I spent working on a musical, and I've written a few musicals, and this was a musical that I co-wrote with a Thai national artist and famous director, Patravati Mejudon, who I worked with, and she was working with children at, they were young men at a juvenile prison. These were men who have absolutely no hope. And we have this project called The Broken Violin, where we use the analogy of the broken instrument that I make music on to show how in our brokenness there's still beauty and value in every single person created in God's image, and how we can be used just as we are. And the story, the musical wrapped the story of these 5 juvenile prisoners into the story, the thread of the musical. And we made the music, and they were the lead actors in the show. What I've always loved about the violin and the fiddle, whatever you want to say, is its diversity. You can find it in the concert hall. You can find it in the midst of a musical that's setting as a skate park in Thailand. And it's going to work. It's going to connect with people in such a unique and powerful way.
You and I have both been awarded the Governor's Arts Award by the Governor of Oklahoma for our encouragement and support of the arts. Have you found Oklahoma to be supportive of you?
My experience has been, the support I've received from Oklahoma has been like a great big hug. I really point to the support that I've received in my home state as a key factor to my success globally. Every time I'd finish a performance, people would come up to me and say, "What in the world, a talent like yours, what are you doing in Oklahoma? You should be in fill in the blank, Nashville, New York, Austin, LA, Chicago, anywhere but Oklahoma." And I would always think to myself, it's really unfortunate that people would have this feeling. Oklahomans have truly embraced me as a performer, included me, showcased me, invited me, and allowed me to make my career as a full-time performer living right here in my home state.
Oh, Kyle, I'm waiting to win my award. I'm just wondering, can you share any stories about some collaborators you've worked with? Who are your favorite collaborators? And don't be shy, you can name drop.
Roy Clark. Roy Clark is just an iconic American artist, country, crossover to pop. He could just do anything, banjo, fiddle, guitar, singing, comedy, you name it. I was hired to play in a little house band for a dinner, a banquet, and Roy Clark was going to be one of the guest celebrities. When he got up to his segment of entertainment, he actually pulled me forward and introduced me. He said, "There's a young man back here playing the fiddle, and I'd just like to know if you can play something for me." And we did a song together, and it was the most amazing thing, because when it ended, the general manager of the Grand Ole Opry at the time, Mr. Bob Whitaker, jumped up on stage and said, "Young man, I want to invite you to be a guest performer at the Grand Ole Opry with Roy Clark." And I'm just thinking to myself, how is this possible? How is this really happening? Roy's manager, Jim Halsey, gets in touch with me and arranges for me to perform a benefit concert with him at Oklahoma City University to endow a new scholarship. And I was introduced that night, and Roy turned the stage over to me for like 20 minutes of his show. And I was calling the songs, I was kicking them off and fiddling and singing, and Roy was singing harmony with me, and we were having a ball cutting up with each other. And one of the truly dear performing memories of my life.
Would you mind giving us and our viewers just a special treat and maybe play something for us? I know our viewers would really love it.
Chris, it would be a pleasure, an honor really for me. Anytime, anywhere, my friend. For you, Larry, and all of your listening audience out there today, I'd like to share one of my songs. Grab my guitar, strap it on. This is inspired by the Fred Rogers documentary. He would often ask people to take 1 minute to just close their eyes and think about somebody who's helped them in their life. Got me thinking about the power of our minds and the power of a minute. And I'll ask you and your audience today to maybe close your eyes and think about that person that's helped you in your life. I was thinking of you, but you probably knew that, 'cause I couldn't help myself, didn't know what to do. But I'm sure you felt that, 'cause I keep my love on the shelf. Well, it's hard to tell you just how I feel, these words are pumping through my veins. So change my voice, it's my choice, and you know I'm gonna break these chains. 1 minute of my mind, thinking of you with 1 minute of my time. If I could just let this 1 minute rule your world, maybe you would give your love again and again. Yes, you might give your love again. 1 minute of my mind, thinking of you. 1 minute of my time. If I could just let this 1 minute rule your world, maybe you would give your love again and again. Yes, you might give your love again and again. Yes, you might give your love again.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Your energy and talent are overwhelming. And we're so appreciative of you coming back to Greenbox and for joining us today remotely.
Well, my goodness, Chris, Larry, thank you so much for having me as a guest artist on Happy Hour. This has been so much fun conversing with you, sharing some stories and memories, and just having an opportunity to reach a new audience. So thank you very much for having me on. God bless you.
Thank you so much. You're a champ.
We want to remind our audience to be sure and check the credits of today's episode, because contact information for the people, the places, the wines that we discussed today will all be available there. Thank you again.
Yeah, sharing is caring. Cheers.
Sharing is caring. Bottoms up. And thank you, viewers, for tuning in. Remember, support your local artists.
And be kind to animals.
Thanks again.
Happy Hour with Chris and Larry, scene 12, take 1.
Oh, we're matching.
Oh, no, we're not. Oh, my God.
We can do it. Maybe it was osmosis.
Kyle, what are you drinking? I'm drinking some red wine that I can't pronounce. What's your favorite drink, Kyle?
Chateauneuf de Pape.
Chateauneuf de Pape. What are you drinking at home, Kyle? So listen, Kyle, I've won no Governor's Arts Award, and that's okay.
And find that it's perfect to accompany the table with poultry, fish, fruits, and all kinds of vegetables if you're a vegan.
Are you calling me a fruit?
Maybe.